Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Monday. Welcome to Norse Studies Week 17. We are delving back into Germanic Heathenry, a practical guide by James Coulter, and we're looking at Chapter 2, titled The House and Household. The author describes the home as both the origin and the destination of core elements of heathen faith, family, frith, and hospitality. Now, seldom in this modern age do we think of our homes in terms of holiness, and I think that has been to our detriment. When the home is reduced to just being a physical structure where you just happen to sleep, I think we are denying ourselves more than a sense of stability and comfort. I think we're also lacking a source of spiritual strength. Heathenry, paganism, these are paths of integration and the gradual awakening to that realization that the material and the spiritual are components of a whole. They are not separate things and actually living accordingly. Next, Coulter discusses that referring to the household is to refer to a dynamic, living, breathing thing. It encompasses more than just the structure and the material objects within it. It goes beyond just the presence of the people who live there. It's the manner of life. It's the relationships, the totality of household affairs. He then brings up the concept of Urlog, or in other words, our own contributions through our actions to the well of fate. And that is how the house is managed, and the state of relationships between people is all essentially energy that we are pouring into that well. It makes all the difference in the world between having a peaceful and a happy home and a dysfunctional one. And this, of course, isn't just all the result of one person, because everyone present within the home shares joint responsibility, whether things are going well or poorly, whether they're old or young. So if the members of the household are able to build up the household more than they tear it down, and let's be honest, we are all guilty of doing both. It's just a question of proportions. Are we doing more harm to each other than good? But if we do more good, then it's more likely that the family as a whole will be able to endure through hard times and will be able to successfully work towards creating good times. The next issue Coulter brings up is that of hospitality, which of course is of vital importance within heathenry, but it is a virtue that is tempered by prudence. Now, sadly, not everyone in the world means us or our families well, so it's foolish for us to be too trusting and not to exercise any judgment about who we actually allow into our innermost circle. There's a lot of superstitions around the idea that, the primary way evil gets inside of a home is by it being invited in. So it is worthwhile us exercising some caution, whether we are dealing with living beings or discorporated spirits. Now, of course, we also shouldn't go to the other extreme and allow nothing and no one in. The idea of balance and being sensible and practical does come into play in this matter, as it does with all other things in paganism. Coulter devotes the remainder of the chapter to the idea that we can have both freedom and safety within the home, that no one is ever completely isolated, but neither are they denied their proper autonomy. This can only be achieved when the bonds between people are real, because the give and take between people that is based on love and mutual respect is going to be different and have a different outcome than if you have relationships between people that are more legalistic, transactional, and cold. Now, when things are in order, there is a sense of having a shared fate, because people are voluntarily working in concert with each other rather than just scattering to the four winds or trying to smother each other. And given the dysfunctional state of society, it's difficult to fully envision how this works in practical terms, but there was a time in the past when such values and aspirations were more normal. It can come into being again if we make wise choices. Overall, I rate Chapter 2 of this book more highly than I did the introduction or Chapter 1. The author did get a bit lost in the weeds on some of the details, but his order of presentation was more logical, and I felt like he put more heart into the writing. Now, this does not mean that I have warmed up to his writing style, or that I don't think the author is trying a little bit too hard to impress people, but this chapter is an improvement, and I want to give credit where credit is due. And that being said, the more I reread the book, the more justified I do feel in my decision just to take it one chapter at a time. There are limits to my tolerance for the author's writing style, and I have to admit, the decision to take a closer look at this book again, it was a bit of a stretch for me. So the fact that we're doing this, progress. And next week we'll be getting into Chapter 3 that discusses the lute. So On that note, share with me now your own comments and questions and your own interpretations and opinions about this particular chapter, or on the subject of generally about the pagan or the heathen household and how things should really function within it, particularly when it comes to familiar relationships. I would love to hear your thoughts. So share those with me in the comments section below, or come see me on Gilded. There's a link to join us in the description box below, and we'd be very happy to have you there. But that will do it for now. See you next time. Bye.